I think Trump believes that by putting tariffs on all countries, it'll create jobs for America because the goods coming into the country will be more expensive. I don't see it that way, but I'll start with you, Kunle. What do you think?
I don't know. Either he doesn't know what he's doing, or he does, and he's just trying to tax
Yeah,
the hell out the people. Because the Republican Party is supposed to be the party of no tax. Tariffs are just
yeah.
taxes. They're just taxes. I don't know why he's trying to spin it as it being something else. The problem is really for America. It's not really the rest of the world. The rest of the world are just going to say, you know what, piss off. China's there, India's there, the European single market is there. We'll just
Yeah.
do business with them and ignore you. And right now the American economy has been at the top, but it's on the decline, whilst the Chinese economy is on the rise. In 5 years, if not already, China is going to be ahead. And the problem is, even if America is ahead or just slightly ahead or level now, it's on the way down. And China and BRICS are on the way up. So all he's doing is exacerbating the situation and speeding it up.
So it's a risky
What
move.
America
Go
Yeah,
ahead. Go
really,
ahead.
American, in order to project power, they need to keep doing the things that I didn't like them doing. They need to maintain US aid. They need to maintain their military influence around the world, causing chaos in those countries that they reap their resources from. And they need to continue to put their feet on the throat of the third world in order
It
to
won't
keep
work.
gaining their resources.
It won't
But
work. Let me
they're
tell you
not
why it
doing
won't
that.
work. It won't work.
Actually,
Let me tell you why.
but
America, first of all, they don't. Somebody made a joke. American kids can't become soldiers because they're too fat and stupid. Okay. Number two, America's education is on the decline.
yeah,
They can't make hypersonic missiles. Their economy is bad. They're imploding. They don't have the money to be an empire. You rightly said it, and Richard Wolff said it, and it's the truth. The U.S. is an empire on decline. This is what happened to Rome. You have to spend so much money on security so that you can attack other countries that you don't address your industrial concerns. You can't feed your people. You can't do anything because all you do is create war machinery. The US's days as a military empire are over. They can't keep their foot on the rest of other countries because Russia, China, these countries have got their back. The US lost several wars in the past 40 years. They lost the Vietnam War. They lost the Afghanistan War. They lost the war in Afghanistan, and then the Taliban came back in. So the U.S. can't project power anymore because they don't have military power. So now they're trying to project use the dollar as a weapon through trade. It's a big risk. It might work with some of the European countries where they'll lower the level of their currency, but it's not going to work with China and Russia, like you guys, like you said, because they create new markets. Last thing I'll say, 37% of the world's GDP comes from BRICS. 27 comes from US and G7. So already the BRICS bloc has a higher GDP. Game over for America. These tariffs won't help. America has an intrinsic problem with their economy where they spend too much on war. They allow people like Elon Musk to have trillions of dollars and don't pay taxes. So what America needs to do is make itself austere. You can't, like, for example, I'll give you an example. My sister owns a house worth $1.6 million and she has two Lexuses. No, you don't need that in America. That's why America's messed up. And because everybody takes a loan. They take loans so they can buy Lexuses and have six kids and have a $2 million house. Those days are over. Americans have to live in group homes like how I live. I live with three other families and I pay less. That's how Americans are going to have to start living now. I own a car from 2001, rubbish car. I think you said you have a Toyota. That's how Americans have to live. They can't continue living as if they're rich. They can't have four cell phones. In the US, you know how much I pay for Netflix? $99 a month. No, America needs to they need to tone down their economy, spend on infrastructure, spend on education, and spend on industrialization again. And workers need to take less paychecks. Perfect example, I'm not trying to brag. I don't make that much, but here I make $5,000 a month. That's ridiculous. And I work with kids. It's too much money. And I barely make enough. I barely save money at the end of the month. So the US is dealing in a fantasy world. They have to tone down their economy.
So I'm going to say that a very important thing to note is that America has almost over 200 military bases, and China has.
I don't know.
When you look at that, America's influence and power is based on its military strength, its ability to impose sanctions, its ability to strong arm other countries into doing what it wants done. That's where it gets its value from. That's why if America owes money, it'll just print more dollars. It's basically using its military strength as its main projector of power, whereas China is using its economic ability to provide infrastructure. So whilst China is busy building roads and bridges and hospitals and schools, America is busy saying, oh, we want to provide protection in a mafioso-like way. And nobody, no third world country has benefited economically from doing business with the West and America.
No,
They
and it's
never
not going
have.
to work. Yeah,
They
and
don't.
Russia, going to what
Yeah.
you said, Russia has the most raw materials in the world, and they have a strong military, and they're backing up countries like in Mali and Burkina Faso. So that's why I say it's game over, unless the U.S. wants to start another world war to hold on to its power. They don't
Yeah.
need to do that.
That's
The U.S.
that's the
has
thing
more
that
oil than Nigeria. The U.S. has metals. They don't need to be a military. They don't need to project power. They just need to tone down their economy and just trade with other countries, and they also do well. They don't need to do it that way. But this is the white man's burden of wanting to be the boss. The white man would rather see everybody poor, including himself, than to be on the same level as Chinese people and black people, even if they're doing
yes.
well. And that's racism, and their racism will destroy them. What?
They fear equality. That's
Yeah.
what I've
Yeah.
noted of the Western world. That word equality, they just can't accept it for a black or brown person to be equal to them. For
Yeah.
them, that is like an injustice.